All right. I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry for the delay here. I had some other things that was happening. So please go ahead and let me know if you're in the chat tonight. I certainly would appreciate it. I've been having some problems with that. Pop out chat. I don't know if I participants. I don't know if I should even mess with that. But anyway, if you're in the chat tonight, just please go ahead and let me know. I'm trying to see exactly what's going on in the chat. But so tonight our conversation piece is going to be about African Americans in the Revolutionary War and Freemasonry and how did all of this come play a part. And because if we don't tell our history, if we don't tell our story and our participation in America, no one is going to do it for us. They're going to write you out. They're going to leave you out. So today, as we approach 4th of July, we want to talk about the part that we played in American Independence Day, and even after that, what took place in our enslavement and where we're at today. So it's going to be pretty good conversation piece today. So please come on in. We need to have this conversation because a lot of times we don't have conversations like this, and if we do, it feels like, what am I trying to prove? I'm not trying to prove anything. I just want to set the record straight when it comes to our people and what we have done in this country and how we have participated in making this country great. Whether it's great again or whether it's great now, we've always participated in this country, despite how we've been treated in this country. And it needs to be said. Our story needs to be told, and we need to tell our story. We can't allow someone else to come in and tell the fact that, hey, yeah, there was a Revolutionary War, but blacks did not participate, and we know that those who tell the story can leave you out. So we're going to talk about the Revolutionary War. We're going to talk about 1776 and how did we play a part in this? And we did play a part. We fought the British for America. And not only that, we fought along the British to take over America. So we played both ends of that thing. So we need to have that conversation. And that's a conversation I really believe that would make a great topic. That's going to be a great topic. It's going to be something that we can actually talk about and really enjoy. I mean, even let's did Prince Hall play a part in the Revolutionary War? That can be controversial also. Knowing the part and who he is as far as an American hero or who he was, that can play a part. That's very controversial to a lot of people also, because that deals with Black Masons and the charter. That deals with a whole lot of things. Him petitioning Boston as far as being a Mason and being denied, and then him later hooking up with John Batt and becoming a Mason in an Irish military lodge, which was under Ireland, and they fought along the British. So did that make him a spy? There's so much interplay to this. Till I think this is going to be a great conversation. I believe that we really need to get involved and let's have that conversation. And definitely, if you don't mind, you can definitely give us a call tonight at 619-286-0642. I can't necessarily see pop out chats. Let me see. I don't know if I can see the chats or not. Oh, okay. There you go. I can see the chats now. I couldn't see it. Eric Collins, how you doing? Appreciate you coming on tonight. I really do. Thank you for participating. Um, Hold on a second. There you go. Appreciate you coming on and participating in the discussion tonight. It's going to be a great discussion. Greetings in the inbox, man. No, I think we're good, Brother Collins, I think we're good. I'll definitely look back and give you that email. I'll definitely do that. No controversy. He was a beast in those times, though he was made irregular. Okay, definitely. But brother Lewis, when I say controversial, you know exactly what I mean. All right. Greetings. This dispensation has the opportunity to work wonders for all generation before and after us, on uniting our efforts into a community, into our homes. Definitely. What's going on, Malcolm Prophet? It's been a long time. All right. I certainly appreciate it. So if you want to just get into this conversation, we can do this. And give me a call at 619-286-0642. There you go. And you can join this conversation because, as I said before, it's going to be a good conversation. It really is. Let me get back over here real quick to something. Let me get back over here. So what we're going to do is really take a look at this. I pulled up some information. I wrote down some stuff, so I want to share with you. And you can find the same information. So the Moors. I'm going to talk about the Moors first before I go any farther and their participation in the freedom of America. Let's set the record straight. The Moors assisted and aided the young colonies in defeating the British. As a matter of fact, if you look farther into the history, and you're going to have to do your own research, you will find that when George Washington put out a call for help, it was the Moors who showed up to assist and aided Washington in the colonies. And when they wrote the Constitution and how America is supposed to be governed, it was based on the concept of the Moors and how they live. Now, if you don't think I'm right, and if you think that I'm telling you something that's not quite right, do me a favor. Hit me in the inbox or call the show, and we'll have that conversation. Because what happens is a lot of the things that we do in this country is written out. You can't find it. Now, we know that there's a famous picture that is out there with George Washington, and there's this black guy supposedly holding his horse, and a lot of people would say, well, you know, he was a slave. No, actually, that's a Moor. As a matter of fact, he was a freed man, being a Moor, and he wasn't really, he was supposed to have been in the picture with Washington, standing side by side with the horse, but the way they drew the picture up, it was if he was holding the horse, you know. And there's another famous picture out there. There's another famous picture out there. There's a picture with George Washington, and he's crossing the Delaware, and there's a black man in the boat with him. That's a Moor. Okay, let's set the record straight. That's a Moor. But what we get a lot of times, let me bring this down here. There you go. Right. I think I got it right there. Trying to set this camera. I think I'll leave it there. But what we get a lot of times in this is that it's incorrect information. It is incorrect information. They're not telling you or sharing with you everything. What happened to your life No, you're still, brother Eric Collins, you're still there. You are still there. And I'm still here. Eric Collins, dial in, number. Please like and share. Thank you very much. No, you're still there. Yeah. You're still there. The Moors were outstanding seafarers. Absolutely. And that plays a part also in the Masonic ritual. And I'll get to that later. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I'll get to that later. But when you think of Freemasonry, when you think of the call to those who came to assist Washington, and the Moors was one of the ones that definitely came out to help and assist and aid in the young country becoming and fighting the British, we have to tell our story. We have to tell our story. There's no doubt about it. We have to tell it. In the American Revolution War, okay, and gaining freedom was the strongest motive for enslaved black people. It was. It was the strongest motive for African Americans to play a part in America gaining its freedom, because we believe if America gained its freedom, we was going to be free. Also, we know that the British said, look, if you fight alongside us, we will give you your freedom. So that was an incentive both ways because we wanted to be free. Hold on. I don't know if I can send a link to anybody with the show since I'm on. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not that tech suave at this time, but maybe somebody else can. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if I'm able to do that. Somebody hit me up and asked me if I was able to do that, and I'm not sure. So as we take a look at the as we take a look at the part that the African Americans played in the Revolutionary War, we played one hell of a part. Okay, now check this out. They offered us freedom if we would fight alongside them, and then after we did that, they enslaved us. Not only that, the British offered us freedom. And after fighting alongside of them, we was free. Although the claim is that the British lost the war. That's another story too, because there's some issues with that, because as you begin to read about America, you have to question yourself, did America and the Moors and those who came to assist and aid America, did they really defeat that army, that navy of the British? Did they really do it? Or did they say, well, here you go, let's work out some type of treaty amongst ourselves so we can have our independence from British? Because we don't have a king, we have a president, which tells you that we are more so in a corporation than anything else. We're not a monarch, in succession. That's something we need to really think about. But let's get back to the topic of the show as far as African Americans in the Revolutionary War and the part that we played in helping this country to become free. All right. It is estimated that 20,000 African Americans joined the British. Okay. Which joined the British. They say it's about 20,000. Brother Morpheus, thank you very much for that donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next month when we travel to, this month is July as we travel to Atlanta. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Big shout out to you and your jurisdiction, Brother Morpheus. Also, we know that it is estimated that 20,000 African Americans joined the British in their cause and fight in this country. We also know that there was around 9,000 African Americans who became patrons, who fought for this country. 20,000 fought with the British and 9,000 fought with this country. It's really something to think about, okay? Also, between 200,000 and 250,000 soldiers and militants served in American cause during this time. So we know now the numbers. We know that during that time, there was 20,000 that fought along the British, 9,000 fought along the Americans as patrons. We also know that there was between 200,000 and 250,000 soldiers. Okay, million is, I'm mispronouncing that word. Malut. That is to say that they were blacks, but they wasn't African American blacks. Neither were they anything else outside of that. They were blacks. I mean, the Moors. Let's just say it was Moors. Okay, let's just say that. I don't want to continue to be messing up words and all that stuff. Greetings, most wishful United Grand Lodge, ancient free and accepted Mason, Shreveport, Louisiana. Greetings to you. Hey, Brother Vincent, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. He got it up there right there for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. White nobles are mimicking the passage to the New World. Interesting. I see you, Brother Charles. What's going on? Okay, fraternal greetings. Let's get back to this. So we know also That means black soldiers made up approximately 4% of the patrons, which is 9,000 soldiers. 5,000 was combat dedicated and ready. 5,000, all right, right off the top, all right. Notable, the average length of time that we served in that war was 4.5 years, due to many services of many of them served 8 years, but the average length of time that we served in during that time was 4.5, 5 years. Average the total length was like 9 years, but we was right in the mix. I mean, we didn't run, bruh. We was right there. We did not run. Okay. So when we get ready to celebrate the 4th of July, America, we was right there. A lot of people would say, no, I don't want to celebrate it. And that's okay. But I know the part that we played in America in its freedoms. Okay. I know the part we played. So I don't mind about celebrating it. Now, I may not sing the Pledge of Allegiance or the Star Spangled Banner. I may not sing that. I'd rather sing the National Negro Anthem. You know, I'd rather sing that. But that's my preference, and there's no disrespect to the Star Spangled Banner. However, I know what the Star Spangled Banner meant. There's a whole extra part that's left out of that. If you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story. Don't tell some of the story. Let's tell the whole story, because the whole story is not being told in regards to the part we played. The whole story is not being part to the successes of those who came to this country rescue of the Moors. The whole story is not being told. We're getting bits and pieces, and our kids are left out feeling, well, I'm not celebrating the 4th of July. No, back up, pump the brakes. Let's celebrate the 4th of July and what we have done for this country. Not what this country has done for us, because we know that in some cases, this country really did us a disservice. Let's just be honest. And a lot of Freemasons don't want to talk about that. Sometimes this show can be very controversial in what we're saying and putting out. And a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's truth. And what are we in search of, Freemasons, in the Order of the Eastern Star? Those who are noblemen, in search of truth. We're supposed to be illuminated and illuminating people, those who want to share knowledge. See, when America got its independence and the Moors took place in helping, we have to realize the Moors left a lot of information with them. They was, like the brother said earlier, they were ferrymen, meaning that they were seamen. They conquered the seas. They traveled the world. They helped establish different, I want to say civilizations in different parts of the world, but not necessarily civilization, but they helped to educate a lot of people in their travels. That's what the Moors did. We can't take that lightly. No matter where you go, you're going to find us. Although it may be controversial to some people, the mere fact that our brother, and yes, I said our brother, Prince Hall, whether you believe the story or not, that's not my fight. But I'm going to say that our brother Prince Hall and his companions who was initiated into the Irish Lodge, whether you believe it or not, that was the beginning of Black Masonry in the United States. Yeah, I said that. Why did you think they named it African Lodge? I don't care about where they got the charter from. I'm more concerned about the name, the people who was in it. We have to realize we got to set aside those small differences, that petty stuff that a lot of us get caught up in, and let's look at some things that we have in common as far as raising and helping to solidify our people and who we are in this country and how far we got to go, because they're not going to tell our kids the true story about the part that we have played in helping this country to become free, helping this country to be all it can be. We are still playing a part, and we have yet to be considered equal in this country. And that's all we have ever asked for, as we have fought in every war that this country has had. They have always called on us to fight. They have always called on their poor and disproportionate people to come and fight its wars. And those who have the money, those who sit in high places, have set aside and said, okay, you can go. You're a good guy. You're a patron. Go fight for this country. And then when you come back, you're treated less than. We've always been there for this country. And I just want our fair share of what this country has to offer, what it does for those who come from far distance to be in this country. And they often ask us, why is it that black people are still in the situation that they're in? Every other people comes to this country and they tend to develop, they tend to grow, their community grows. Well, you know what? There's a system here in this country. And we have to understand that, people. There's a system here in this country that directly affects everything that we do in this country. That's a fact. Let's just look at it for what it is. And the mere fact that we have helped this country, and we still consider to be helping and developing this country. We are inventors of a lot of things that this country has. We've been right in the forefront, but our story never gets told. I'm telling you, go look at our story in this country and what we have done for this country, the things that we've invented to help this country to be the best economically developed country, first class. We have been there. We've done these things alongside those who have kept us in slavery. Let's look at our history and how they've burned down most of the developing cities and towns that we were in, and how they covered it up and they flooded them out, and they're called this and they're called that, not knowing. We know now in regards to our situation here in America and what we have done as far as African Americans in this country, not only as Masons, but as citizens, and what we have helped to develop this country to become and to be. When you look at the Central Park in New York, and how we used to, as a people, live in Central Park, and how there was actually a town in Central Park. If I'm wrong, somebody can write me up, text me up, call me up and say, no, that's not true. But from what I've read, Central Park was a Central Park to black people in New York. And let's talk about California, for instance. La Jolla, California, one of the most beautiful places you can come in San Diego and go visit. African Americans was first settlers there. The ocean front, we was there. We lived on those high hills. We did. And they came along and moved us out. There was a family in Long Beach, if I'm not mistaken, Long Beach, who had a resort. It was theirs. They came and took that from them. And now they're talking about giving it back to them because they were swindled out of it. So we have to realize this whole thing we talk about, celebrating independence for America, as there's nothing wrong with us celebrating. Nothing wrong at all. Do I enjoy everything that America has done in regards to keeping us so-called in our place? No. But I can guarantee you this, everything America has gotten, we was there, you know, including Freemasonry. Although, you know, my brothers, Prince Hall and those 14 others, let's not forget there were more, you know, there was 14 other guys with Prince Hall. We don't usually talk about Thomas Sanders and those others. I don't recall all their names. We don't usually talk about them, but we have to remember them also. Look, those guys were, I would say, from what I've gathered, were individuals in the community that was dedicated to the African American community and how we should grow and develop. Now, granted, do I like the letters that I've read in regards to Prince Hall that I found so-called begging for recognition? No, I don't like the letters I've read. But still, that doesn't take away from the man, his character, and the things that he fought for and wanted for his people. It should inspire us who are Black Masons to be just as good, just as fearful, not fearful, but just as bold in making sure that our community where we live is just as equal to anybody else. And that is to say that a lot of times, you know, in Masonry, I'm talking to the Black Masons now, do you feel as equal to those considered to be mainstream Masons? That's another thing you have to ask yourself. You know, how do you feel about your organization? Are you just as equal? That's something you have to ask yourself. And I say these things because I want us to tell our story about what we have done in this country, how the Moors have helped this country, how we were tricked in fighting for the freedom of the country and put in slavery. So some people may say, well, at that time, black people owned slaves. Okay. And your point is what? A few black people own slaves. Granted. But I tell you what, the way we was treated, we know who the majority of the people and how we was treated, and how the president themselves had slaves, and how they had concubines also, and how they treated the women. Sally, I want to say her name was Sally Mae. I may be wrong, and that's President Jefferson. He had her living in the house, and he took her everywhere that he went, and how he had kids by her, and they're still living today, and yet they don't want to give them credit. Come on now. We just want our equal share. We just want the story to be told how we fought for this country. This country didn't get free by itself. Notable. Owe their formation to John G. Jones. We won't be judged by material possession, but by our deeds, hearts and feathers. Absolutely. So we need to be, as I'm going back to say, we need to be able to tell that story. If we don't, somebody else will. And we know they're telling the story now. We're not even in it. We're not even in the story. All right. So African-American soldiers during the war was 4.5 years. That's how long they served, due to many serving for a whole 8 years duration, which was 8 times longer than the average period for a white soldier. Meaning that while they were only 4% of the manpower base, they comprised around a quarter of the patrons and strength in terms of manpower and man hours, though this includes supportive roles. So no matter what you say, we did more work and served longer during the American Revolutionary War than our white counterparts. Okay, we did that. That story needs to be told, okay? In contrast, about 200,000 escaped slaves joined and fought along the British. You know why they fought along the British? Those 20,000 slaves, you know why they wanted their freedom. No man wanted to be a slave to another man. So no, we wanted our freedom. That's the truth. So we had, it's funny. We had one group saying, look, you fight with us to help this country become independent, you get your freedom. We got one side over here saying, look, you come fight with us, when it's over, you are free. Now, what do you think actually happened? Who held their promises? I mean, we were screwed either way, but I'm just saying, okay? Because all blacks were not slaves in the beginning, okay? I understand that. I got that. All of us were not slaves in the beginning. We were not. I'm looking at the results along the way. I'm looking at how we was treated along the way. How they molested us, raped us, brutalized us, hung us, burned us. You name it, they did it to us. And a lot of people say, well, you know what, Hawkins? That happened a long time ago. That happened I can see it. That happened a long time ago. Y'all need to get over it. No. Because let me tell you, if you know anything about the body, especially the female body, when your mom is carrying, when the mother is carrying a baby, a child, when the female is carrying a child, everything she experienced goes into that child. If she's stressed, if she's hungry, if she's smoking, if she's doing drugs, that child gets it all. So when a woman has a baby and she's been doing drugs, that baby comes out shaking, having withdrawals. When that woman has been in an abusive relationship, that child knows, and when the child is born, that child is in that's not a normal thing. That child is frightened. So we know that those very things are passed on. Do you not think that today's freed slave, today's black man and woman, do you not think that we're somehow still traumatized? You have to remember, brothers of the craft, sisters of the order, you got to remember, it wasn't until the 70s that you really became free, because you're talking Jim Crow law up until the 1970s. You're talking school integration. Although there may have been a few black people going to majority white schools, we're talking about true integration. That didn't kick off into the 70s. And most of you who I'm talking to were born in the 70s. So all of that trauma that your mother experienced has been passed on to you. This is why some of us are still angry as hell. You know, we haven't received the right psychological care for ourselves. So we have experienced that trauma. Some people are like, no, man, no, go look at it for yourself. You can do this for yourself. No, any information I'm giving you, you can go research it for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Do it for yourself, and then we can have the conversation. Black folks need to learn the true history of Black Friday. Absolutely. Absolutely. They do. We know that they set us up on a block in the center of town and sold us at a discount, per se, but we were sold. It was like, hey, let's get this on. So when we began to look at what we have done for this country, the role that we've played in this country, the inventions that we have given this country, we have helped to make this country the very country that it is. And that's not to take away from anyone else who came along and assisted in this country in its development. But we're talking about the African American experience and the Freemasons that was here to help this country to become what it is and where it's going. Its economic power, its military might. We've all played a part in that. Okay. All right. So as we look at this, they said though between only 800 to 2,000 people who were enslaved reached Dunmore, Dunmore, Dunmore. Did I say that right? Am I even close? You know. So the publication of both proclamations provided an incentive for nearly 100,000 enslaved across American colonies to escape and lure the promise of freedom. So there was nearly 100,000 of us. It was that said, hey, look, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Even when they had not only the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, we was in that. Just people for a moment. Brothers of the craft, sisters of the order, just for a moment. Think about who we are and the part that we've played in the sacrifices of our ancestors and what they've done for this country. We want our equal share of everything that this country has to offer. We've been right here. So why can't we have our equal share? War on drugs, that's a war on black people. I'm just being honest, and I'm passionate about us. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about us, people who look like me. I'm passionate about us, period. I know a lot of people keep saying, you know, black people hold each other down. You know what? Who says that? Because you may work with someone, because someone may have hurt your feelings, didn't give you the cut you thought you should have gotten, and they look like you. So therefore, we keeping each other down. Well, other races have done the same thing. It's just not pointed out. I'm saying to us, everything that I've gotten in this life that I've lived so far in this country, everything I've gotten, I've had help and assistance by those who look like me. Period. I'm not going to ever say I wasn't hurt by someone who looked like me. I'm saying that everything I've gotten, everything I've earned in this life so far have been assisted and aided by someone who looked like me. So I can't go around cutting down my brothers who are Prince Hall, International, Modern, Free. I can't do that because even some of them helped me along the way. So I have to have an understanding of who I am, where I'm going, and the things, how I'm going to accomplish some of these things in life. And I can say I'm thankful for my ancestors for laying down their life so that I may have a better life. Am I better off than my mom? Yes, I am. Am I better off than my dad? Yes, I am. If I said no, I wasn't, then I have to think a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that has to change, true enough. There's some growth that needs to happen, true enough. But am I better off? That's the question I have to ask myself. And if you're still living and struggling, I'm not saying I'm not struggling. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, I'm not struggling. No, I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler. I go get my hustle on for my coins. What I'm saying is that in the process of hustling, in the process of making a way for my family as the head of household, as that process continues to reshape, I want to be able to, as a parent, to leave my kids better off than I was, and giving them the tools to keep the money, to make more money and leave their kids off better than they were. It's called generational wealth. And those people who we'll fought with, fought for, side by side, has more generational wealth than we can ever think of. We are not yet equal to them at all. But that's not to say we can't, as family men, as mothers, as daughters, as sisters. That is not saying that we have to sit idly by and grieve in the loss of our ancestors and what they've done. That tells me I got to get up. That tells me I got to become better than, because I stand on the shoulders of some mighty people. Okay? I stand on their backs. I stand on their shoulders. Those who was fearfully man, those who was powerful enough to stand up and say enough is enough, and they lost their life. I stand on their shoulders. Those who ran away to have freedom in another country, I stand on their shoulders. You're probably saying, well, how do you stand on the shoulders of those who ran away to another country to become free? Easy. They let me know that I can accomplish anything. I may have to leave here to do it, but I can accomplish it. Sometimes you have to leave where you're at in order to become successful in life. You may have to leave Detroit and go somewhere else to be successful in life. You may have to leave New York to become and go somewhere else to become successful. It is not saying that you can't do it there, but because you are there, some things can hinder you up. So sometimes being in a new environment lights your fire. The opportunity of being around other people inspires you, and there becomes your break to become successful. That's all I'm saying. We come from a strong stock of those who survive. Absolutely. We do. And when we are able to gravitize to that, man, stick your chest out, hold your head up. Don't walk around with your head hung down. No, that's not who we are. So as we begin to celebrate America's independence, we need to realize that what the part we played. We need to understand that we're still playing a part. We just want to have that equal share. As King said, we want to cash that damn check. I'm sorry, but we do. We do. We want to cash that check. We want to get in on the things that America has to offer. We do. We don't want to say, well, you know what? I don't want to work for it. No, we don't mind working now. If somebody ever tell you, oh, you're lazy, no, come on, man. Really? Come on. No, I ain't falling for that. Nope. I'm not falling for it. So as I continue to look at those who have done righteousness in this country and fought for this country, and the patriots, you know, we often hear about Christopher Addicts. We hear about him, and that's great. It's good that we hear about him. But there are so many more that we don't hear about. You know, we hear about the Buffalo Soldiers. That's great. But there's so many more we don't hear about. Our history has been buried from us. And it wasn't for a lot of us that we even, after we've gone to college, after we have read some history books, it wasn't for a lot of us. I'm going to be honest. When I discovered that those black women who calculated the distance between Earth and the moon and did all of the algebra and when I discovered and watched that movie and said, well, damn, I didn't learn that in high school. If you did, great. I did not. I did not. I took Black history in high school, and that I did not get that. I don't know. Maybe I fell asleep and they said it. I don't know. I didn't get it. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that we have done in this country, and our story is being buried on purpose. People don't want to have that honest conversation about what we have contributed to this country and still continue to contribute to the development of this country. We want our fair share. We want to be treated as equal in this country. We do. And this is why we have the issues we have now, because you don't treat us as equal in this country. You see us as less than, until America realizes that they have the jewels of God in this country. America is going to always have an issue. Hear what I said. Until America realizes the jewels of God is in their country, they're going to always have an issue. They don't know anything really about who we are. Look, when they captured us, when we were sold into slavery by some of our ancestors, I'm being honest, okay? When they captured us and some of us were sold into slavery, however we got here and was in slavery, those were some of the most mind-blowing people you can have. Architects, farmers, you name it, we was able to do it. If the work got hard, we invented some shit to make it easy. You know, we was always there. You want to talk about the light bulb? We was there when that happened. You want to talk about the cotton gin? We was there. You want to talk about the real McCoy? What that word really means? And who was he? Well, come on, man. Big Ben, the clock? We was there. We've been written out of a lot of it. But we have to understand we was there. You want to talk about some of the things like the broom, the street sweeper, the spark plugs. When you want to talk about the air conditioning and freezers, we were there. When you want to talk about the engine, we was there. You know, you want to talk about Ford inventing a car, we was there. Like, go look it up. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not playing. I'm saying we was there in every part, in every situation in this country. We was there. You want to talk about some spies? We was there. You know, Harry McTugman, spies, we was there. Come on, people. I'm just saying. To break down the true meaning of the 4th of July. It's all lies. Oh, man. The traffic light, the gas mask, you know, the motorcycle. I mean, look, it's just the idea we need to know. I don't care about what other people don't know, but we need to tell the story. We need to know that no matter which way this country swings, left or right, up or down, we're there. We're fighting for it because we believe in what the country actually, that Constitution that was written, it has the handprint and fingerprint of the Moors all over it. Hear me clearly. I said it, and I want you to go look it up for yourselves. The Constitution of the United States, the laws which governs this country, has the fingerprint of the Moors all over it. Go read it for yourself. Oh, where can you find the information? No, I'm not telling you where to go find it. I'm telling you to go research it for yourself. And I want you to do it because when you find things for yourself and research things for yourself, you believe it. You do. When I find things for myself, when somebody's having a conversation with me and I go look it up and I find out for myself, be it good, bad, or different, it becomes my information and I'm willing to share it. And I'll go tell the saint, hey, I can point you there. I can tell you to go look it up. We have Google engines and Yahoo engines and all other sorts of ways to look up information. I still have a set of encyclopedias. I do. Britannica. Yeah, I don't know nothing about botanical encyclopedias. I have some. Yeah, I have some. Because I've learned a lot of things that are in books are not necessarily going to be found on the internet. Hear me clearly, although you can go research it, and that's great to do on the Google engine, the Yahoo engine, and all of that. But a lot of things that are in books, you're not going to find, especially old books. I tell you what you do. Go to the Goodwills and go to places that have Goodwills centers where they sell clothing, and look and find old books from the 60s and books from the 70s and old books. I'm not talking about no 80s and revised versions. You need original books. And when you find those original books and during the time they was written, the information is more so dead on than anything else. And this is where the information is at. It's great to Google it, but books, oh my God, I like having a good book to flip through the pages to read it for myself. And I'm not talking about no revised copy either, because when they do a revised part to a lot of information, historical stuff, they leave out a lot of stuff. They do. This is why it's important to, when you have old books, to keep them for safekeeping. It reminds me of what they did to the Grand Lodge of Lux and the books that was in there, how they burned and how they took books to themselves and hoarded the knowledge and made you think that they put that information out when the information was already there from the beginning. Think about that. Salvation Army is another place. And I'll tell you this, don't just go in your community looking for Salvation Armies or Goodwill centers. Let me tell you why. Because get outside, go outside your community to another Salvation Army. Like if you know of an area in your city, your town, wherever you may be at, and you know that that part of the city, the part of that town is expensive to live in, you know that, that's where you go. Hear me clearly. If you, like, take for instance myself, I'm going to use La Jolla, California, for instance. Very expensive. I will probably be dead broke trying to buy a house in La Jolla. $1 million homes on the cliffs in San Diego. Okay. Millions, more than just one or two. Okay. In that part of the city, of San Diego, they have a Goodwill Center. They have a Salvation Army. I go there. That's where I go. I still shop there. Okay. I go to places like up in the Oceanside, California. Okay. Granted, right around the corner from where I live, maybe less than 2 or 3 miles, there is another Salvation Army. There is another Goodwill Center. I've gone there too, but the ones that are in the most expensive and exclusive areas in your cities and towns is where you go. Trust me, that's where you go. They hide, yeah, they do, bruh. They hide the information. Okay. So when we understand that the information is hidden, those are the jewels. Nothing that is, I'm going to put it this way. Everything that is precious, everything that is worth something is hidden. Everything that is precious and everything that is worth something is hidden. Gold is hidden. Oil is hidden. Pearls are hidden. Knowledge is hidden. Everything. It is worth the sacrifice of having. It's worth that sacrifice. Period. It's worth that. I want to welcome everybody to today's podcast, and we're talking about the part of African Americans and the part that they played in the Revolutionary War. Yeah. Greetings and salutations. I appreciate that. How you doing, brother? How you doing? I appreciate you. Brother Bishop, I hope everything is good for you. Let me see here. I'm going back to my information real quick. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there you go. So as we begin to take a look at this, how many of you have heard of John Butford? John Butford, okay? John Buford or Butford, Bufford, okay? 1856. Prior to the Revolutionary War, many freed African Americans supported an anti-British cause. Most famous, Christopher Addicks. We know he was first to die in the Revolution, believed to be the first person killed at Boston Massacre. At the time of the American Revolution, some black men had already enlisted as Minutemen. Yeah, we was already there. All right. So we know that. And then it says both freed and enslaved African had served in private military army, especially in the North, defending their villages against attacks by the Native America. Yeah, the Native America attacked us. Yeah, they did. They did. We had to fight them too. And not only did we fight them, we joined them too. I'm telling you, man, we're all up in this thing. We're all up in it. All right. We're all up in it. Not only did we have to fight the Native American, we end up joining them too. They had us enslaved too. Okay. Yeah. The Native Americans owned slaves. Yes, they did. They did. What's up, Brother Robert? How you doing? Greetings and blessings. All right. So, let's see. And it goes on to say that they was, oh man, I got to get this call. Hold on. Hey, are you busy right now? Can I call you right back? Hello? You're breaking up. Hello? Yeah, give me about 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to call you right back. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so yeah, I got about 10 or 15 minutes to go. But as I continue to go on, we have to realize in the Revolutionary War, slave owners often led the people that were enslaved to enlist in the war with a promise to come back. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, bro. We was being, no matter what we did and how we tried to do it, they was, oh my God. We had to promise we was going to come back if you let us go fight. Man, if you believe that. John Horse and the Black Seminoles. Yeah, absolutely. You know, absolutely. And then think about this here. I've said it earlier, but even after the Civil War, even after the war was over, they still put us enslaved. Think about that. You promised us that if we fought, that we would be free. You promised us that. And then even after we fought, even after we gave our lives, our ancestors sacrificed everything, you still put us back in slavery. Shit. I'm looking at it for what it is. Yes, we have come a long way. We have. This country has grown a little bit. I will give credit where credit is due. I will not. And I will also say this. For those who know and for those who don't know. Yes, black people were Republicans at one time. We were diehard Republicans. Yes, we were. But that all switched in the 60s. It switched because we understood the political power more so then than we do now, per se. Some of us don't. Some of us got lost and stuck. But a lot of us who understand politics understand why we switch roles. Yeah, the Democrats were them Dixiecrats. Them boys wasn't nothing nice. Let's just be honest. Them Dixiecrats wasn't nothing nice. That's where your Ku Klux Klansmen come from. Democrats founded the Ku Klux Klansmen. They did. That's a fact. Them boys were nothing nice. Them southern states, they meant business. Okay? But then in the 60s, when the strip got flipped and we wanted what we call our civil rights or voting rights, although we had the right to vote, it needed to be protected. That's another thing. As we talk about the role that African Americans have played in the Civil War or the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, Vietnam War, you name it, the role that we've played in developing this country, we still got to fight for that role that we say the right to vote. Although the right to vote is a legal right, but it's aimed at us every time. Why do we still have to say the bill got to be signed? Why can't we just have equal rights to vote regardless? Oh, come on, man. I'm saying, you know, I'm just putting it out there. I just want us to think a little bit and tell our story, our history, you know. So even in 1775, at the Lexington in Concord, black man responded to the call to fight with the Patriot forces. Prince Esteem Brooks was wounded, and sometimes during the fight on April the 19th, probably at Lexington, the Battle of Bunker Hill also had African American soldiers fighting alongside white patriots such as Peter Slam and different other people. Many African Americans, both enslaved and free, wanted to join the patriots. They believed that they would achieve their freedom or expand their civil rights. So we fought for this very country. We did. April 26, 1777. April 26, 1777. Okay. During the Tyrone raid, okay, in Connecticut, a slave named Adam, in the act of recklessness and daring, was killed when he was fired upon the British. So we was playing both ends. We had to play both ends. We was playing the end with the Americans, and we were playing the end with the British. We wanted our freedom. No matter how we got it, we wanted it. Hear me clearly. No matter how we were going to be free, we wanted it. So we fought with the patrons of America. We fought with the British. We wanted to be free. And for those who say, well, you know, you should have did this. Until you are there, you don't know. You could talk a great game about what you'd have done, how you would have done it. But until you are there, you don't know. You don't know. All right, so let's get into this question. Why is it that neither party will commit to our right to vote and become law versus an act which requires a renewal? Let me tell you why. That's not a hard question, but it's a good question. Because both of them are the same bird. They are. Both the Democrats and Republicans, although we are on both parties, both are the same damn bird. They are. If they wasn't, then as you said, it would be law versus an act. Now it is a law. It is a law that we have a right to vote. But the act that has to be signed every year is to continue to put those things in place to protect our right to vote. You know, left wing, right wing, same bird, absolutely. You know, so when we look at the Democrats and the Republicans, we got black Republicans and black Democrats. Man, we're trying to play the thing from both ends. But some of us get lost. Some of us don't come back home. You know, because on the Republican side, they bring you up through the ranks. They have one or two. So you think you've made it. But you don't go back and educate anybody else because now you're amongst them. And then on the Republican side, on the Democratic side, yes, quite a few of us have come up through the ranks. But then they don't give us the needed information. Okay, it's like some information. It's like sprinkled information. It's like, here you go. It's okay. It's going to be all right. But it's not all right. And it's not okay. We want the same equal rights under the law without them having to be every 10 years, every 20 years, we're fighting for the same damn thing. We are fighting for the same thing. Equal rights under the law, period. We want to be treated equally under the law. We fight for the same thing. Our right to vote shouldn't be an act every 4 years or every 3 years to be signed by anybody. Those civil rights laws should be in place to protect the rights that we have fought for. And everybody else hops on that and get what they want. Everyone hops on what we have already dug into, step on our backs, and become successful based upon the work that we have done. That's a fact. It is not to throw bricks or stones. I'm looking at what the builders have built. I'm looking at what my ancestors have built and how everybody else but us have benefited from their sacrifices. As we approach the 4th of July, as we approach America's independence, as I look at our people in this country, some of us are very successful, but yet a lot of us are still in bad shape. Now the question remains, as an individual, what am I going to do to assist and aid those along the way who are still left behind, who are still in bad shape? What am I going to do for them? Because I'm definitely not dependent on the millionaires and billionaires to do anything. Now, granted, I must give credit where credit is due for those who have made the sacrifices, such as my brother Bill Cosby, who've donated money to our institutions, who have helped black people to go to college, who has paid for their tuition. I must give credit to the black billionaire who paid for those Harvard graduates. If I'm not mistaken, they pay for their tuition outright. They start off with no debt. I give credit where credit is due to all the black millionaires who put money into different programs to see that we come up. I will give that credit. However, there are so many of us that are left behind and left out. And another thing, everybody don't want to be free. I've learned that lesson along the way in this young life I lived. Everybody don't want to be free. A lot of people like being where they're at. A lot of people like living where they live at. They do. They like that drama in their life. They love it. I'm telling you, a lot of people do. That's right. Each one teach one. But we must realize that a lot of people like that drama. You know. Greetings. Hey, what's going on, my brother from Valley of the Kings, number 360. Hey, I'll be there in about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I'll be in New Orleans. We're going to definitely get down with the get down. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely. But we got to look at that. We got to be able to, as an individual, to invest in another individual to see that that individual will come along and do better than life than what I'm doing right now. We have to do it. We have to tell the story in every facet. The story can be good, bad, or ugly. It has to be told. It has to be told. And we need to tell our own story instead of letting other people put a twist and a turn on it and we're left out of it. Plain and simple. So look, I'm about to go. It's been fun. I've enjoyed you. I want to say thank you. And yes, I am a country boy. I'm from Mississippi, you know, rooted and booted. So look, until next time, I want each of you to enjoy yourself. Have a great Independence Day. Enjoy your family. And the most important thing you have to offer to anybody is time. So until then, may God bless you, keep you, and peace and be well. I'm out.